It's 8 p.m. in Compton. I'm riding with a sheriff's lieutenant and undercover detective who are part of a new human trafficking task force. It's not immediately apparent, but along this busy road and others like it, countless young girls are sold for sex.
Human trafficking, it's always been around, but it's been under different names, prostitution, vice. And I think what's really come to, with everything from, say, child abuse to domestic violence to now human trafficking, is the concentration on dealing with the victims, not just with the problem.
This is one of those victims. She's agreed to talk to me on the condition that I conceal her identity. So I'm calling her Lucy. Lucy was first sold for sex at the age of 15.
A girl that I had been staying with. She introduced me to a guy and his wife. And before they sent me to work, they had their fun with me.
Lucy grew up without a mother or a father, but she did have some contact with her biological family. Lucy told me that at an early age, she was sexually abused by her uncle and her grandfather.
And was he supposed to be the trustworthy one?
I thought he was. That was my grandpa. I mean, every little girl looks at her grandpa, whether he's wrong or right.
How old were you?
From my grandfather, from 3 to 9. From my uncle, 9 to 15.
At age 26, Lucy is still in the life. She survived multiple rapes, homelessness, a miscarriage, and drug addiction.
I always kind of was looking for a family. So however screwed up it was, I didn't care as long as I had what I believe was a family.
These kids believe that these pimps are the closest thing to a father figure that they have. And so they're doing it out of love. Misguided love, but still love.
The undercover detective told me Lucy's story is not unique.
I had this one girl, she'd been prostituting since she was 13 years of age. And she was molested by her stepfather. Her mom didn't believe her, which that's really common. And the pimp used that. She ran away, pimp got her. First thing he did was get her high. Told her how pretty she was, had sexual relationships with her. Well, what do you think this girl's gonna do? She said, man, this is, someone finds me, desirable. They love me. This girl was hooked, and she ended up working as a commercial sex worker for this guy for 5 years. And she's still in the life.
Stephanie Powell runs a nonprofit organization called Journey Out. They work to help young women like Lucy.
If you have a girl that's still with her pimp that started at 13 and now she's 23, he didn't let her go at 18. So it doesn't stop. The bottom line is that this victimization does not have an expiration date.
Law enforcement is beginning to get the message. Instead of viewing these young women as prostitutes and criminals, they now understand them to be victims, coerced, exploited, and trafficked. In essence, owned by their pimps. It's the very definition of slavery.
Someone that's being held, for the most part, either against their will, physically or emotionally, or by duress, threats against their family, threats against themselves. It happens all the time. So yes, it's straight out slavery. I wouldn't even call it modern day slavery, it's slavery.
People have a tendency, when they think of slavery, they think of people being in chains and not having any part of freedom whatsoever. But there's another part of slavery, and that part of slavery is psychological. Emotional bondage is stronger than being shackled, because you can never get away from it. Your bondage is always there.
Lucy says she's tired of living this way, but with a criminal record, it's difficult to find legitimate work.
When people do look at you like you're a criminal, what do they think you're a criminal for?
Prostitution. Most of the time I'm dressed provocative.
Compton juvenile court judge Catherine Pratt says the word prostitute implies choice.
These kids do not have a choice. They don't have other skills. They don't have the means to get other jobs, to be exposed to other professions, and it is not a choice.
Once a girl is trapped in the sex trade, she may unwittingly become a criminal accomplice.
The line between someone who's a victim and someone who's an exploiter can often be very blurry. The reality is that sometimes girls are encouraged to bring other girls in, and it's frankly a survival technique for them. They're told by their exploiter, if you bring in another girl, then you don't have to be on the street, or some other incentive such as that. And that's a very compelling incentive when you've been beaten, you've been working 7 days a week for the last 5 months, and so sometimes they are motivated to bring other kids, other young people into the life.
The economics of human trafficking make things even worse for the victims, whose exploiters are often connected to gangs. They can make more money trafficking girls than selling guns or drugs.
And when you think about it, it makes sense, because if you sell a gram of cocaine, you can only sell it one time. Girls, you can sell 10, 12, 15 times a night, and there is an endless supply.
The new approach by the LA Regional Human Trafficking Task Force is beginning to pay off. Since November, they've helped 60 victims get off the street and arrested 14 suspected traffickers.
I try to treat these victims as human beings, get them to the right direction that can help them, but my main goal is to get the pimp off the street. And if I can take him off the street, have I helped her? Yes. Is she ever going to be exactly how she was before she did it? No. But more importantly, I'm going to stop this guy from turning another girl into a victim.
Leaving the life is not easy. It's an uphill battle.
Unfortunately, I don't have a job, so it's kind of hard because I have things that I want, and I don't have a 9 to 5, so if I want to get them, I have to do what I got to do.
But that hasn't stopped Lucy from imagining a better future for herself.
What do you want your future to be like in a perfect world? What do you really, really want deep down inside you?
To go to school, find something that I enjoy doing. I'm a caring person. I like making people feel better, so maybe counseling or something. Or maybe culinary, making people's bellies happy, something.
Lucy's path may be uncertain, but this compassionate, victim-centered approach might just be the road to a better future for her and others like her. I'm Cara Santa Maria for SoCal Connected.